I will let Mr. V and William Gomez to introduce shortly themselves. And after that, we can go through with panels, and I will be also asking a couple of questions. Hello, Mr. V, Yaroslav.
Yes, hello, Nodo. Hello, guys. Great to see you all gathered here. So my name is Yaroslav, and I'm a CEO and co-founder of MetaAds project. So today we are hosting this discussion. I mean, this panel. I hope it will be very interesting, and it will come in handy for all the viewers. And I would like to greet all the vendors and all the people who visited actually the very small exhibition and who is present at today's conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. V. And William, please.
Hey, Nodo, good to see you again, man.
Good to see you.
Welcome, everybody. My name is William. I am the co-founder and CEO of MetaZone, which is the app store for the Metaverse. And we've been around since 2019, early days of beta in Decentraland. And it's the change that we've seen so far has been quite massive, especially with the DAO, new people coming into the Metaverse. And then our platform is focused on providing different ways to kind of monetize your land, right? Create businesses as NFTs, if you will. And so happy to talk about that a little bit more later on during our conversation.
Yeah. So I propose we have a very interesting, like, informal conversation about how we feel openly. Basically, my first question will go to each of us. We can start from Mr. V and then go around. Will be like, how do you see Decentraland used for business? Like, are we who are doing business in Decentraland kind of just having fun and trying something, or you guys, like, how do you see like doing business in Decentraland? So I think like William has the longest experience in all of us doing business in Decentraland. So yeah, it would be amazing to start with William and then we go to Mr. V.
Yeah, as far as businesses go, I think it's building a business in Decentraland is quite difficult. Clearly, we need more users, more adoption of virtual worlds. I want to say metaverses, but really, I think I agree with. There was a book by Matthew Ball where he says that in the future, we're not even going to call the virtual worlds a metaverse. It's just going to be, the internet, right? Pretty soon. But creating a business in the virtual worlds has been pretty difficult. I think we need to discover sort of like the biggest pain points right now is just creating content. And that's pretty much why we create our platform, so that we can have developers and creators come in and make that content, and then we can easily distribute that content in a click. And so it's been difficult, but I think the tide is starting to turn. And now it's time to figure out the different business models that blockchain really enables us. So not necessarily like, different business models where I've seen one where Netflix potentially could have some sort of NFT that grants you perpetual access to the platform, or staking some ETH in order to gain you that access. So different business models like this are starting to be kind of discussed internally as well as like within the community. And I think that's the most important thing, to figure out the biggest pain points and to tackle that with a technical solution. Because I feel like that's the only way that you're going to be able to create something where others can leverage and take advantage. And then most importantly, have sustainability across the board.
That's amazing. Totally agree with you. So yeah, it's like big hustle, I say, at this moment. Like, you need like lots of nerves and persistence to move forward and to believe what's gonna come. But I'm so happy, like, I know all of you guys who are involved in this, like doing amazing things for Decentraland and doing like real businesses. And I want to go to Mr. V, what he thinks about it. So
yeah, I should totally agree with William. The hardest thing in Decentraland is lack of people. So we really hope that the amount of people who are using metaverses, I mean, not only Decentraland, but the whole metaverses, I hope so that it will rise dramatically very soon. with the help of VR technologies, especially because, if we are talking about the Metaverse, we are talking about the next generation of interaction. I mean that Web 3.0 is concept that blends our physical and digital existence, and it helps us to bring the technology from the two-dimension environments into immersive and interactive 3D environment, and this is the main advantage of the Metaverse. But still, we are waiting for the mass adoption of the Metaverses around the world. So when this will happen, I think that it will be much more easier to do business in Metaverse. So, and another advantage which I should mention, yes, is that Metaverses, they are like very scalable and they are very autonomous. So this helps business to rise and very fast. So this is like a main idea. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, and Jan, what will be your take on that? So would be interesting to hear your feedback, like what do you think overall, like doing business in Decentraland, overall Metaverse is like, has some future or not? And yeah.
Well, I'm super excited. And the reason, and I agree with all the points that have been stated about the fact that we need mass adoption, but I think we're going to get it. And I think we're going to get it through the route of the video game. I think that what's been shown as a very popular use case has been Fortnite and the ability of people to visit this metaverse, so to speak, and then to enjoy not only the video game play, but more importantly, shows and events and fairs. So I think over time, once we can add value to our Decentraland events, people will come. They'll just say, give me the URL. Yeah, I've never been to Decentraland before, but I just want to see Travis Scott do a concert. I just want to see Madonna or Lady Gaga or whoever do a concert. So I think that really we're at this cusp right now. I think we're going to see it at the Super Bowl. I think the Super Bowl is actually going to do a couple of things where they're going to be in a virtual land metaverse at the same time that they are in the real world. And I think it's just a matter of time. And so what's really important for us all to do right now is get ready for that. Get our web developers in line, get the people that can build our project in line, get our Metaverse land bought and ready to go. Because I think at that point in time, we're not only going to be making money flipping our land, but also renting it out for short and long-term events. So I see Decentraland, it's my favorite Metaverse out there, as a huge opportunity. And it's all we get to do right now is just get ready for it. Because like you said, there's not as many people there as we want them to be right now. So let's take advantage of this part. And I think within the next year or two, it's just going to blow up.
That's actually like great take on this. So I'll quickly also comment my side. So basically, like at this moment, I think all who are inside trying to bring in all the people and show them that like in the metaverse, you can do the business. It's just not only for games, and it's like doing business and having fun at the same time, how I see it. And basically, that's what this conference is also all about, right? We are showcasing other people that you can host amazing conferences even in Decentraland. Like you should see like how inside we have amazing listeners. They are dressed up so cool. I'm taking like screenshots like almost every 5 seconds. So it's great experience to see all these things happening in, right? And basically we need some time and we need some resources also to spend on it. And sooner or later it will become a reality. But yeah, but we don't know when, right? But we should be waiting for it. And it leads me to my kind of next question is that what do you see is the path to revenue and profitability in Decentraland? So basically right now, yeah, like doing business is good, but every business final goal is to make some revenue, make some profit, and etc. So I want to like see your intake of you, William, and Mr. V, how you think like when it will be actually possible? First, like how like landowners who already bought their land, how should they like get some revenue going in? And the businesses who are inside and the vendors, when they're gonna start like making the revenues, right? And some profitability. So yeah, like whoever wants to start, you are welcome. So we can start with like Mr. V and then go to Jan and then William. So yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Nodo. So from my part and from the part of MetaAds, I think that revenue, I mean, in case of landowners, you can generate it from marketing and from events, because, you know, events is the main part of the metaverses right now, and they really do generate traffic. So the main idea for brands, yes, who come to the landowners, is that they need to find an engagement and awareness of people, of citizens of the metaverses. And for brands, it is also very important to find like special events. So that's why some companies they are dedicated to this approach, and they choose like, you know, one-time special event, and they are really glad to find out a really great places in Decentraland. I mean, from the part of the landowner, they need to provide the brands with very special places which they build in Decentraland. I mean, and of course, it is very necessary for brands to receive all these marketing opportunities from landowners. So if we talk about landowners, they need to develop their land, they need to be creative, they need to cooperate with each other, they need to cooperate with the media agencies, they need to cooperate with creators, and they need to launch their NFTs. And you know, it's kind of a synergy, because when they are when people do the same job and they do it together, and this synergy brings a real result. So for the Decentraland, I think the main purpose is networking, and networking with all the people, with all the actors who are present at this market. So this is like the main idea of how you should develop your land. Thank you.
Thanks. So William, what will be your take on that? Like,
sure. So I have a lot to say here. Being around Decentraland since 2019, the biggest problem that we've solved, or we're trying to solve with our platform, is basically the trilemma. So essentially, we have a bunch of landowners who put a lot of money. They own a bunch of land in Decentraland, but they don't have the ability to create engaging content on top of that land, right? And so that's the first part of the trilemma. The second part is we have developers who have the ability to create content, but most of them don't have any land. And then the third part is, well, we got people in the metaverse, right? They're running around Decentraland with not a whole lot of stuff to do. And so this trilemma sort of manifested pretty much on day one with the launch of the beta. And so we realized this pretty quickly, and we were like, well, my brother, who ended up building all of MetaZone, he's a developer, right? He knew this pretty quickly. He was like, okay, let's just create something where we can have creators come in and make content, and we'll make it easy to distribute that content throughout different lands. And so since then, we've generated over 4 million mana, and most of it has gone to the creators. And we realized that we need to focus on technology to make it easy for developers specifically, at least in the early days, to be able to create content, engaging content, games, but in a way that fits the kind of the business model that would work for the metaverse. And what I mean by that is, we need to create content that is easily distributable across multiple lands. So a lot of the stuff that we see in Decentraland is, you buy a bunch of land, you pay some developers to create content on that land, and then you bring people to that land, which is a good model. But I think there's an easier path to revenue for all creators, where instead of making a game where you come and focus to a single location in Decentraland, make a game that is distributable across multiple locations. So you can have an RPG game that is hosted by 50 different lands. In order to progress in this RPG game, you go to the different lands hosting the game itself, and you progress and you level up, and every time you interact with this content, the landowner is getting a piece of the loot. The landowner is getting a piece of the transaction, whatever it is. And we feel like this is the business model that is more sustainable than what we could come up with. And so far it's working. So we have a project called Rovi.ai. You just type it into the address bar there, just hit enter. And this is like a P2P project that is a game that is distributable across multiple lands. And this is just a showcase product just to show what we think is going to be more sustainable. And we want others to create similar projects like that. But that's the main point to take away, is that we need to create content that is distributable so that you align the landowners, you align the players, the creators, the people that are pushing the events themselves. Everyone is aligned to push a single creation that is distributed across several lands. So that's kind of how we see the most sustainable business model today. But yeah, just happy to hear everyone else's thoughts on that and their own version of what we think is going to be sustainable.
Okay, so I'll address to Ian, and then I will kind of finally say my opinion. So yeah.
Well, listen, I absolutely love that comment by William. Interoperable, right? That's what the promise was of this decentral world that we think of as blockchain. So I'm really excited for that. I will say this, being a lawyer and an entrepreneur, and I counsel NFT projects and virtual land projects all the time. I'm a member of Republic Realm, which is one of the largest virtual land holders in the world. I will say this, that interoperable is awesome. I think it takes some technical know-how that a lot of people don't have just yet. A lot of brands don't have just yet. But what I always talk about, the fact is, I try to center people on existing use cases that they understand, an analogy, and then just try to bring that over into the metaverse. So people understand websites. People understand that you go to a website. So what I talk to brands about is I just say, listen, it's like 10 grand, right? It's like a 10 grand investment. You get some virtual land and Decentraland, Sandbox, Somnium Space, whatever it is. You get developers. And right now, developers are awesome. There's so many of them. They're growing. They don't know what to charge now. It's like the wild, wild west. But you can get, like, I built my Corzine club for like $2,500 using a developer. So you could get existing places for these people to go. And I think that at some point in time, people will really be drawn in to just having a pointer, whether it be a URL or some sort of address that they can go straight to and interact with people. Because ultimately, with the big promise, besides decentral, besides interoperability, is community. So they want to go to a place where there's other people there to hang out with. So I do think that interoperable is definitely the future, but I also see a big place for a location to go to. And if you can offer enough value, go here and you're going to get a free $1,000 NFT. Go here and you're going to get a concert that you couldn't see anywhere else. Go here and you're going to get to see this movie that's a week before it comes out in the theaters. If you give people this upcoming value, they'll do it. They'll just type it into the browser and they'll go and they'll learn on the fly. Oh, I didn't know Decentraland you control with your keyboard or whatever. I didn't know in Somnium Space you could use virtual reality goggles. They'll just learn. But if you have to make it worth their time. So that's what I talk to brands about is, let's forget about all the logistics. What is an awesome offer that's going to draw people? And then once you get that, you build everything from that, and it's actually cheap.
Yeah, that's actually like amazing point of view. I love like how we discuss these things, because all of us are having like different backgrounds doing business in Web3. And I also want to mention that I totally agree with your opinions, and I myself like trying hard to bring traditional brands inside the Decentraland and metaverses, spending lots of time and explaining to them what is the metaverse, so they can be spending some time creating unique experiences for the people. And they have vast majority of customers in real life in social medias like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, right? So I'm trying to like create some kind of quest for them where they will be telling their users, hey, go to Sandbox, find this, and then log in back in Decentraland and do that, and then go to another game, right? So basically, like also like more people and more interesting content will bring more people. And one of the examples is also like this event, which can be all only here inside the Decentraland, and we have these amazing people who will be presenting their projects. So yeah, like Thanks a lot for answering these amazing questions. I also want to go to Mr. V and William, because we had this, like, we all of us three are kind of had some ideas of advertising in the metaverse and bringing in some brands and etc. That's how we met each other, right? So that's what I love about this space. We don't see each other as a competitors. We just see each other as a partners, right? So that's what I want to spread and take your say your opinions about it also, because we know how it is in real world, right? So everybody fights, competes, and etc. So here, because we are very early and we are very little people inside, small amount of people inside, we're just kind of shaking hands and helping each other out. So yeah, I want to go to Mr. V and say what he thinks about, like, if helping hands will be helping more businesses coming into metaverses, especially in Decentraland.
Yes, thank you very much, Nodo. Actually, Decentraland and metaverses, especially for vendors, it is like a blue ocean, because there are not as many people who are trying to do their businesses in metaverses. So you were correct when you told us that we are not like competitors, like in real business. But if we are going to the real life business, actually, many businesses, even if they are competitors, they keep on negotiating and helping each other. So it's a normal practice, actually. So from my side, I would like to say that at the very beginning, it all comes to the partnerships. It all comes to helping each other in business development, especially in our exhibition. You can see like loads of vendors, and sometimes you don't even compete with them, because, as I told earlier, there is like a synergy effect. And for example, from my side, from my company, I can come media agencies or to the guys who are creating the events, and we can partnership together, and we will get for surely 1000% win-win strategy. Because for example, we are not hosting events, but other guys do hosting events. So if we cooperate, we can bring a great and really exclusive product. And this product will help brands, for example, to enter the metaverses, and in future this will help metaverses to have like a mass adoption. So this is like my main idea. So if you are doing stuff in Decentraland, you need to cooperate with the other guys, because right now it all comes to partnership.
Thanks.
Yes, I totally agree. Mr. V said it best. I think it's more about the kind of discovery of sustainable business models in a way. Like, say, for example, there's a group in Decentraland that let's say in this hypothetical situation that they have sort of like a dance competition. And all of a sudden, they get 100 people show up, and then next week they get 150, and then it starts taking off. All of a sudden, there's like 500 people showing up every single time for this dance competition. What do you think everybody's going to do in Decentraland? They're going to come up with their own emotes, and they're going to battle in this dance competition. And that's because for some reason, it happened to hit the zeitgeist. People seem to like this sort of activity in Decentraland, so people are going to copy it. And that's the exact right thing to do, right? We got to figure out something that is going to engage people, and then just and figure out ways to have others participate. And when it comes to things like that, we all have to kind of collaborate and figure out what is going to be that sticky thing in the metaverse. And when you think about like the Web 2 space, Reddit is the front page of the internet, and you basically post some sort of article, you post some sort of thought, and it gets some traction. We got to find that particular activity for the metaverse. It could be just coming together, listening to some DJs, or watching some digital art, some artists explain their art. Like, we need to find that thing that millions of people can interact with. And being this early on, I think we all have to kind of collaborate, do partnerships, and figure out what that thing is going to be, so that by the time millions of people do show up, they'll have some sort of activity, they'll have some sort of thing that people do in the metaverse. And so yeah, I don't think it's about competition. It's more about us collaborating and figuring out what is that sticky thing going to be. And maybe Ian said it best, it's probably going to be games. And but games require developers, and it's a little bit more difficult, but nonetheless, it could be that.
Just to add my 2 cents in there, thank you, William, so much. I totally agree with William, what he's saying. And I think that besides games, it's social media. I mean, I've been praying, and I know it's going to happen, that in the next few months or so, there's going to be that TikToker that is going to do that dance in the metaverse, in Somnium space, let's say. And that's going to blow it up. It's going to happen. There's just no question in my mind. For the longest time, I'm sure everyone in Decentraland now has been frustrated with all the negative press that Metaverse and Web3 get. But I don't know if you've been reading the articles. I read them every single day. And now the take is this, is like, Mark Zuckerberg's Metaverse is so lame. But then we tried the goggles, and no, it's actually not as bad as we thought. And then the next article goes, yeah, if you guys don't like Meta, I understand, but have you tried the new Meta Quest Pros? It's pretty amazing. We're starting to see this tide with the media. And I think what's going to happen is we're going to have some influencers out there, whether they be music artists or digital artists, or just like influencers, just like Charlie D'Amelio is going to show up on a TikTok, and it's going to blow up the use case. So I totally agree. Let's collaborate. Any success of an influencer or an artist in our Web3 metaverse space is going to mean our success. I don't think we worry about it. I literally think we put it aside and let our higher power deal with all that stuff. I think what we do now is we spend the time building the infrastructure. So when that wave comes, when that gold rush comes, I got 100,000 shovels and I could pass them out and make a whole lot of money in the process. So I'm super excited. I really am. I'm like, when in my life have I been early to some sort of huge trend? And this is one of them. And I'm just, like I said before, I'm just building right now and hoping that it comes soon.
Great, amazing. So I'm so happy. Like we all for the same page, and this kind of collaborations will bring to new innovations. And we are these early adopters, we are pioneers, and our collaboration will lead us to something new. And we have like 3 more minutes left, and I'm gonna check if we have some questions from the people. Okay, okay, so we don't have any questions from the auditory at this moment. So if you would like to say some final notes or some final topics, I would be happy to discuss. And after that, we will move to next vendor who will present his or his project. Yeah, so you guys can have like final notes, 30 seconds each to say final words on this panel, and then we're gonna close it down. Jan, you can start.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I guess I just want to be really precise here. I think that everybody watching out there, I implore you, this is the time. Grab this Web3, this metaverse by the horns, and realize this is the future. When has there been a time when you've been early in the market? When have you guessed the housing market? So you made a lot of money, probably missed it. When have you guessed the internet as far as Web 2 goes? Were you on time? Were you doing online courses and all sorts of stuff when it became really popular? Probably not. This is your opportunity to do it. What do you do to be able to get yourself in a position? Figure out what your skills are. Are you a graphic artist? Can you learn a game builder application on Sandbox or Decentraland or Somnium Space or CipherWill or whatever? Can you offer your services as a gig worker and make money that way? Or do you want to create a virtual community? Do you have a special skill set? Do you have arts? Do you want to start? This is the time of Web3 community platforms, like I talk about in my online course, Metaverse Beginnings. And you really should take this time, because I think that if you are able to grab one of these opportunities, I have no doubt that you are going to be financially independent. You are going to be awesome, because there's no one out there. We're before early adopters. So if you get in this game very soon, I think you'll do really well financially. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So Mr. William, anything to say finally, just to close down the panel?
Okay, I will say, I would like to invite people to metaverses because metaverses are really awesome. Join us, be flexible, do your targets, and just enjoy being in metaverses because metaverses experience is really awesome. And thank you for visiting the VRS conference. Thank you very much. And thank you guys. Jan, Nodo, William, you are really great guys. It was a pleasure to work with you and to communicate during this panel. It's an awesome experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and all I'll say is I want to thank Nodo, Ian, and Mr. V for coming on and having a chat about the metaverse. And I want to piggyback again on what Ian is saying is now's the time to develop the skills. Meta
Yes.
just recently, like in the last quarter, they announced that they're going to make, basically a $250 billion investment in the metaverse in the next 10 years. Wow. There's never been a time where a company has decided to make such a huge investment in anything. And so $250 billion is a lot of money. And there's a ton of these huge institutions predicting that the metaverse industry is going to be anywhere from 1 to 6 trillion. This guy from Matthew Ball, he's predicting 30 to 60 trillion dollars. Like now's the time. And like Ian says, like you guys are early. If you're listening right now, it's time to build skills, build content, build anything that you want the metaverse to be, build it. And yeah, that's my message.
Okay, so thanks a lot, William. Thanks everybody, Jan, Mr. V, for joining in. So it was an amazing panel. You guys can leave the Zoom and we're gonna move to the next vendor who will be presented. Actually, it will be me. It will be very strange that I will be hosting and presenting at the same time my project and company. But yeah, I'm cheerful. It's the first time I'm doing like that. So yeah, I will be waiting your questions. And yeah, we are closing down this panel. Thanks a lot for joining in, and see you again in Metaverse or in real life. So you should always specify.
Thank you guys. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye-bye, Jan. Nice. Thank you for joining in. Okay, so now we're gonna invite Meta on the stage. And before that, I will be asking to Mr. V to the Zoom if he hears me.